All right, so this clip is from Tucker Carlson. It's a couple days old now, but I mean, I think it's still relevant and I gotta talk about it because this is seriously one of the most delusional and crazy rants that I've seen in my entire life. And Tucker Carlson just ramps it up to 1,000,000 here, talking about mask usage and whether or not you should wear a mask. So let's go ahead and listen to what he had to say, and then I'm gonna talk more about it.
We did give in. This grotesque version of Halloween went on for more than a year, and it's still going on. Not even Tony Fauci still pretends that masks are medically necessary. Instead, masks are purely a sign of political obedience, like Kim Il-sung pins in Pyongyang. We wear them because we have to. The only people who wear masks voluntarily outside are zealots and neurotics. How neurotic are they? Well, we know. A Pew survey from last March found that 64% of white Americans who classify themselves as liberal or very liberal have been diagnosed with an actual mental health condition. And you see them everywhere when you walk down the street in any major city. If you dare to go on foot from Union Station to the Capitol, for example, in Washington without wearing a mask, angry Biden voters will snort at you in judgment. How could you? They're saying from behind the gauze. How could you? That's the question we should be asking of them in return. The rest of us should be snorting at them first. They're the aggressors. It's our job to brush them back and restore the society we were born in. So the next time you see someone in a mask on the sidewalk or on the bike path, do not hesitate. Ask politely but firmly, would you please take off your mask? Science shows there is no reason for you to be wearing it. Your mask is making me uncomfortable. We should do that, and we should keep doing it until wearing a mask outside is roughly as socially accepted as lighting a Marlboro in an elevator. It's repulsive. Don't do it around other people. That's the message we should send because it's true. As for forcing children to wear masks outside, that should be illegal. Your response when you see children wearing masks as they play should be no different from your response to seeing someone beat a kid in Walmart. Call the police immediately. Contact Child Protective Services. Keep calling until someone arrives. What you're looking at is abuse. It's child abuse, and you are morally obligated to attempt to prevent it. If it's your own children being abused, then act accordingly. Let's say your kid's school emailed you to announce that every day after lunch, your sixth grader was going to get punched in the face by a teacher. How would you respond to that? That's precisely how you should respond when they tell you that your kids have to wear masks on the soccer field. That is unacceptable, it is dangerous, and we should act like it, because it is. But too few of us have responded like that.
Oh my God. All right. I'm honestly not even sure where to begin on this, but I'll start with this, okay? Let's be fair. CDC did recently say that many Americans, after getting vaccinated, no longer have to wear a mask outside. Already, even if you're not vaccinated, the chances that you're going to get COVID in an outdoor setting are significantly less than if you're going to get it in an indoor setting or any other close-knitted setting when you're around a bunch of other people. So that's the first point, okay? There is a difference between outdoor and indoor mask wearing, so there is an argument there to say, well, maybe it's not maybe necessary for everybody once you're vaccinated to be walking around outside with a mask. I understand that. That's a fair point. That's not what the fuck Tucker Carlson just did in this clip. I mean, he starts out by kind of trying to make a reasonable argument and then just falls off a cliff where he starts comparing wearing a mask to somebody beating your child. Requiring a mask, your child to wear a mask is now equivalent to physically beating your child, okay? And let me say this, my entire policy throughout the entire pandemic from a personal level, if I'm in a closed setting, like if I'm in the elevator of my apartment building or something, and somebody isn't wearing a mask, I'm not really going to be deeply offended by it. Like, I think it's kind of impolite because you are kind of putting somebody else at risk if you're in a closed setting like that. But I'm not going to yell at them. I'm not going to tell them off for it. But what he's saying is not only in like an indoor setting where somebody could be actually putting your life at risk if they have COVID and they're not wearing a mask. This is the reverse of that. How exactly does wearing a mask affect anyone else at all whatsoever? I mean, in any way. And not only does he imply that wearing a mask, somebody else wearing a mask in an outdoor setting is somehow an attack on him, but he ramps it up to the physical level. I mean, he literally compares wearing a mask outside to a physical altercation that you have a moral responsibility to intervene in. He compares it to seeing somebody beat their child in public. So that's obviously ridiculous, okay? We can agree maybe it's unnecessary. Maybe you could even call it performative if you want to wear a mask outside. Let's say you're going for a bike ride and you're by yourself. Yeah, you probably don't need to wear a mask in that setting, but that's not the extent to which Tucker was talking about this. I mean, he just goes on this deranged rant and says you should call the police, you should call Child Protective Services. This is insane. I mean, if any of his viewers, which we know they have in the past at least, act on his rhetoric, then this is just ramping it up to a level that was totally unnecessary. I mean, we're already kind of phasing out mask wearing, especially outdoors, like with what I just said, the CDC. They updated their new guidance and said, well, if you're fully vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask outside unless you're in like the setting of, let's say, a concert or something where everybody's packed together. So we are already kind of moving past this point. But if somebody wants to wear a mask and it's performative, even if I'm going to grant you that it's 100% performative, so fucking what? Who cares? How does it affect me in any way, shape, or form if somebody else is wearing a mask? That literally does not affect you in any way, let alone physically affect you to the point where you should be repulsed and step in and try to intervene in this situation. I mean, this is literally one of the most deranged things that I've ever seen on Fox News, and that's saying a lot. Tucker continues to outdo himself and ramp up the rhetoric here, so it is dangerous. I mean, it's dangerous, this type of rhetoric, to tell people he's seeing how much his viewers are willing to act on his rhetoric. So he's kind of testing his audience in a way, because the things that he's requiring or telling them to do in this is just absolutely ridiculous. Going up, stopping people on the street, telling them to remove the mask because it's offensive to you. And this is coming from the same guy who all the time rails against cancel culture and rails against like the exact thing that he is describing in this clip, right? He's saying you should remove the right or the freedom for somebody else to wear a mask. And by the way, there's plenty of other reasons to wear a mask. I mean, it could just be healthy. I've seen people say they haven't gotten sick in the entire last year. Maybe it reduces the chance you're going to get the regular flu, or it reduces the chance you're going to get a cold. Or in the wintertime, like we just went through an entire winter, I thought it was nice to wear the mask on my face just because of the cold. Like it helps you in cold weather. But that's not what he's talking about here, and he just takes it up to a level that is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, calling the police, contact Child Protective Services, like act as if your child is being beaten in front of you and intervene with all of these other people that you see wearing masks. It's deranged. He's trying to pit people against each other. I mean, this is a guy who his entire spill on TV, his entire shtick that he uses is pitting Americans against each other. He wants to ramp up the tension, and I don't know, he wants to see the world burn, I guess, because this is just totally unnecessary. It's totally out of like left field as far as like how dramatic you're interpreting mask wearing. It doesn't affect you at all in any way. If anything, you could make the argument in the reverse sense of that if you don't wear a mask, you are actually putting people's lives in jeopardy, not necessarily in an outdoor setting, but somebody wearing a mask, if you don't like them wearing a mask, well, just shut the fuck up and go about your business. I mean, this doesn't affect you in literally any way, shape, or form, but we'll have to see what the consequences are going to be of this. Tucker Carlson, night in, night out, still providing the same batshit crazy rhetoric.